Hey folks, and welcome to Truck King. Today we are just outside of Calabogie, Ontario to test this truck. That's the latest off-roader from Ram, the 2500 Rebel. And in this video, we're gonna hit the snow, the mud, and the ice with a diesel and a gas and tell you if this truck is any good. Let's kick it off with the walk around. So the base engine that you're gonna get in your Rebel 2500 is a 6.4 liter Hemi V8. That's cranking out 410 horsepower at 429 pound-feet of torque. But one of the big deals with this truck, because you can never get the diesel in the Power Wagon, you can get the 6.7 liter Cummins diesel right here in the Rebel. And in this package, it's making 370 horsepower and 850 pound-feet of torque, and that is sent through a 6-speed with the diesel and an 8-speed automatic with the gas. Now, the real reason, or one of the reasons Ram put together this package is because they wanted an off-roader that could still haul and tow decent numbers, and I think they achieved it. Max towing on this truck is 16,870 pounds. Max payload is 3,140 pounds, but that doesn't tell the whole payload story. Let's go look at the sticker. And the reason I bring up the door jam sticker is because the payload on this diesel Rebel as it sits is 1,650 pounds. So you cannot believe that max number. They take that, and then with this truck, you have to subtract all of the additions. The biggest one being that diesel. That's gonna add 600 to 700 pounds to this truck, and that comes directly off your payload. The truck you're looking at here too has Ram boxes and the big screen inside and a whole bunch of options. So all of that stuff comes together to bring your real world payload down to about 1,600 pounds. It's just something worth noting. Now that's still more than you would have got out of a Power Wagon, but still, always pay attention to what's on that door jam sticker. Well, what else do you get when you go for the Rebel? First of all, you do get unique styling, a whole unique front end and grille. And why don't we just stop right now, go in the comments and let me know what you think. Does this Rebel look good? Let me know. Now, beyond the styling, there's a whole bunch of functional upgrades, such as a set of 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Duratrack tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels. Out back, you're getting a limited slip differential that can also be fully locked, so that's a really nice feature off-road. And then you're getting a full skid plate package underneath this truck, unique suspension tuning, and an available worn winch, although you need to know that you can only get the 12,000-pound winch with the gas engine. The diesel engine, there's too much cooling stuff up front to fit that winch in there. And now folks, here we are driving on-road in the new Rebel. We're gonna go off-road real soon, so stay tuned. But before we do, there's actually some new features that have arrived for this truck for 2023 that we have to talk about. So the first one is a brand new digital display up there in front of the driver. And Dad, I was playing around with it, and the one thing I found is the amount of customizability. You could just do so many different things with that screen. There's 5 different boxes you could play with, right down to you can choose whether you want your odometer to have a decimal place or not. So you can really go in depth. And I think it looks pretty good. And I will ask you, because you own a 2019 Ram 2500,
yep,
and it has analog gauges.
Right.
So, you know, at first blush, what do you think of the screen in front of you?
Well, you know, I have no problem with options, simply because different people want to see different things. Back in the analog days, you know, what made me the happiest is that I had a gauge for my def, which the other guys were still using dummy lights. So, however, here I'm just looking at this right now. You can set that up, the whole gauge. It's right there. It's on my left. You know, fuel on the right, and then as little or as much information as I want. So no, I'm good with choices.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. So the next big change, Dad, are the mirrors. So forever Ram, they relied on those flip-up mirrors, which I always thought was a good solution, but all of the other brands have moved to powered mirrors with spot mirrors, and of course Ram has now finally kind of joined that party. You know, again, I think these are great, and what I really like about them, Dad, is they are all adjustable. The main mirrors and the spot mirrors are all power adjustable right from, you know, over there on your door. So once again, compare them to your mirrors. What do you think? Would you prefer these, or are you good with yours?
Well, frankly, even the old style mirrors were adjustable, including the spots, which they are on my truck. Now, the one thing here that's changed, I mean, I get the fact that now these mirrors will push out, but they're pretty much square. And one of the things that I like about my mirrors still is that when I flip them up, I get a very tall view. And I mean, my fifth wheel trailer is 13'5", you know, and you should be looking at the roof occasionally, you know, because that's where everything from fire escapes to tree branches live.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. This works, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I still like that solution.
Yeah, to me, this feels like I mentioned, we have to keep up. The other guys got it, so we need to get it. And you know, that's not always necessarily the best thing, but yeah, I do think they definitely work well. Now, the final thing, which I think is cool, we have a rear camera mirror. That is not new for 23, but there's actually a new view within your camera right up there, within your mirror, that shows you down the sides of your truck and your trailer. And it's, you know, I turned it on earlier, I was driving. It's definitely strange. It takes some getting used to. And we don't have a trailer on, so I couldn't really feel it. But again, Dad, they're really going out of their way to give us more views, more angles. Yeah, the camera system is also pretty wild on this truck as well. But that in particular, I thought was kind of cool.
You know
what do you think about the rear camera mirror?
It's never a bad thing.
Especially because you can shut it off. That's the one thing with this feature, right? It's all future and high tech, but if you don't want it, shut it off and there's your regular mirror and nothing changed. So
yeah,
that's nice
and in certain instances, I can see where that matters. In others, I don't think it does. However, you know what? Options, right? Everybody likes different things, and they'll use different you know, features that are available. So why force people to use one if you can give them a choice of 3 and it doesn't really cost you that much? So.
Sure. So then finally, Dad, we're driving here in the diesel-equipped Rebel. And this is a big deal, right? Because we've heard forever, all the Power Wagon guys, they love that truck, but they could never get the diesel. And that's what the Rebel does now. It offers you some of that off-road goodness, not quite as much as the Power Wagon, but a bunch of those off-road features with the Cummins. So we haven't gone off-road yet, but on-road, just tell me, you know, how's it driving? What are you feeling? And how does it compare to your 2019 Bighorn?
Well, I can tell you that in comparison to a Power Wagon, it's a better ride.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
The capability is there, more so.
Yep.
So now when you look at it, really, what is the difference between a Rebel and a Power Wagon? There's a couple of small things, but the two big things are you don't get a front locker in the Rebel, and you don't get a disconnecting sway bar. But past that, you know, you do get a locking rear diff or a limited slip rear diff. You're still getting your high-low transfer case. And
all-terrain tires.
Yeah,
the same
so
as on the Power Wagon.
You've got a lot of what you would get over there on the Power Wagon. And if you do go gas, you can also get the winch.
That's also cool too. Yeah, that's only available on the gas truck, but it's nice that they offered the winch here too. Yeah, no, I think the story here is fairly clear, which is that if you want some of the off-road capability, but you want to keep your towing and payload, you got to go for the Rebel. The Power Wagon has always just had, you know, hilariously low towing and payload numbers. It was never a hard working truck. It's an incredible off-road truck, and this is trying to, you know, split the difference, be right there in the middle, offer you the capability and the off-roading. And now I think it's time to test out that off-roading. So we're going to hit a little off-road course here today, and yeah, we'll tell you what it's like. All right, folks, and here we are. We're on the off-road trail in the Rebel. Now, this is the diesel-powered Rebel that we're driving right now. We have had a chance to drive the gas as well, so we can comment on that too. But yeah, right now we got the diesel, and we're out here on a snowy off-road course. Now, this is actually a power line access road, technically, that we're on. And Dad, I think this is appropriate because, again, I think we always have to start heavy-duty off-road videos like this Do not buy a heavy duty truck to go off-roading. It's not meant for it. It's so heavy, you cannot mask the weight of these trucks no matter how hard you try.
And the size of it.
Yeah, and it's huge, right? Go get a midsizer, even a half-ton. Those are going to serve you better. However, clearly there is a usage case here, which is the fact that we can tow so much, we can haul so much payload, and then you still can go off-road. So why I brought up the power companies, because that's the kind of companies that might buy these trucks. Those are the kind of companies that always bought power wagons. So now they have the Rebel, a truck that'll haul more, tow more, and still come out here and do this. So this is an appropriate test, I think.
Yeah, it's for guys who they've got a gang of guys who got to get to a remote location, and I mean, whether it's forestry, oil and gas, the fishery, mining, I mean, I can think of all sorts of reasons, even those guys that got to put up our cell towers now so that you and I can chat to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's who this truck is going to appeal to, because at the end of the day, they want to get home to dinner and a beer and not be sitting in a mud hole stuck somewhere. And that's what this truck is going to do. It's going to not let you get stuck.
So yes, Dad, that is the practical usage case for the Rebel, although I think we can both agree that the other truth here is that you have the Power Wagon, that's an extreme off-road truck. This truck is probably just as much about the way it looks and the entire package as it is about off-roading. Let's be honest, a lot of guys just want a nice looking truck with a little bit more off-road capability, and that's what we're sitting in here. I think this is a sharp looking truck. The interior is quite nice. You get nice options. You can get leather, or you can get cloth seats, you can get a bench, or you can get buckets. Just as a package as a whole, I think that, yeah, I think it's a really nice package. And here's a stat that kind of blew my mind, Dad. Ram says that just over 50% of 1500 sales in Canada are Ram Sport, Ram Rebel, and Ram TRX. Those three trims make up almost they do make up half the sales of Rams. So this just tells Ram that guys love these packages, they love the off-road trucks, so why not bring it up to 2500?
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, and to your point, these guys are very competitive. Ford did it with Tremor, ZR2 over there at GM,
yeah,
AT4. So you know what? They're not going to get left out of the game.
Yeah.
So they gotta have something there, and then you're coming back with it. And I'm going to say it once again. To me, one of the greatest things about this package is that you can get the diesel with this package, whereas you cannot get that with the Power Wagon.
Absolutely. So I mean, let's get into the nuts and bolts. We are out here on this kind of snowy road. We've been running through a bunch of water, which is totally iced over, so we have been breaking a bunch of ice today.
It's winter time up here, folks.
Yeah, it's been pretty gnarly actually in a few spots. So yeah, what do you feel out of the diesel? You getting all the torque you want? Does it feel good?
Oh my goodness, particularly in the 4 low. I mean, it just runs through everything at idle.
Yeah, like 1,000 RPM, and it barely goes above. Yeah, which is beautiful. What do you think about the weight in the front end, though? Because there's no doubt you feel the diesel up there as compared to the gas. Do you feel like it's
what? Like, it's okay. However, the gas does have an advantage because I don't know, the front end just works better with a little bit less weight on it. It's just not this weird nose heavy thing, and it's 600 pounds difference. Sure. Well, it's significant.
Yeah, so that's one of those things where it's like, I would actually recommend if off-roading is your true purpose with this truck, you probably stick with the gas. And let's not forget, again, here in Canada, it's about $10,000 cheaper to stick with the gas. So if you really want to tow, though, of course, yeah, step up to the diesel, pay the money, and it's going to return a great towing experience, and then dang good off-roading.
As we've already laid out, this 2500 Rebel comes with a limited slip rear end that you can also lock. Now, very important, that locker works in 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, and 4-wheel drive low. I'm pleased that it's not limited to just 4-wheel drive low, which is the case with some companies.
We also get the off-road pages in this truck, so you can see the pitch and roll, and excuse the bouncy footage, but you can see how much we're bouncing around out here. It will also show you sort of what's locked up. It'll show you your steering angle, and then something Dad and I really like, it has an altimeter, and it will show you your exact GPS coordinates. A lot of systems do that, but I think it's always cool when they offer you that.
Yeah, but not a lot of them have had an altimeter. That's something like, for instance, Land Rover always had an altimeter. I got a real kick out of that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, here in Ontario, it's like, plus plus minus a couple hundred meters. But like if you're out west somewhere, yeah, you know what? I'd like to know how much I've gained or lost as I'm going up and down these mountains. So
yeah,
it's neat to be able to see that.
For sure. And then the other nice thing, you get the forward-facing trail camera, and that will run up to 15 kilometers an hour. So when you're running at slow speeds like this, you can hit that. And you know what, Dad? In this truck specifically, we get that Mopar Sport hood, and it looks good, but sadly it cuts down on your visibility. You get this big bulbous hood, and you can't see where that nose ends. So
you come over a ridge, and you don't know if the road's going straight, left, or right.
Yeah.
And you've got that moment where you're like, holy jeez, which way do I go?
Exactly.
So that's what that forward camera's great for.
It really is nice. If you watch the channel here regularly, you will see that we just recently reviewed a Ram Rebel GT that was just a 1500. And in that video, sort of what I was complaining about is that the Rebel is okay, but the off-road gulf between a Rebel and a TRX is huge, and Ram has nothing to fill that space. Well, that's true in half tons, but here in HDs, well, they filled the space because they have Power Wagon. Ram has always set the bar. Then they watch the entire segment fill up, and now this Rebel is splitting the difference, right? It's not quite a Power Wagon, but it's pretty close. And I think that's an important distinction to make because a lot of guys don't need that extreme performance. Overall, Dad, I think it's a good truck out here on the trail, but I just think the idea of it and the positioning of it, I think it's a winner.
Yeah, if I'm already in the market for a 3/4 ton and I'm doing this kind of off pavement work, yeah, I'd be real happy that I have this option now.
Totally. Well, folks, we are coming to the end of this one. Now, here in Canada, this Rebel is going to sell for a base price of about $76,000 with that gas engine, but then step up to the diesel and you're talking about just about 85 grand. So this truck won't come cheap, but it's definitely offering a nice step above a stock 2500, plus it looks pretty dang good too. So that's it for this one. Now please go in the comments, let me know what you think of this new Rebel. As always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member. Oh, and please hit that notification bell so you get a notification every time we publish a video. And then of course come back to the channel to see what we are testing next. See ya.